welcome to Justice Losers, the most unqualified podcast exploring irrelevant questions about entertainment, namely movies, TVs, and comics. I'm your host, Preston, joined as always by my delightful co-host,
Batman.
Matt. What should people do?
People should like, people should subscribe, people should check out our Instagram highlights.
Yep.
Yeah, that's at Just Us Losers Pod.
Matt, what you been up to?
Man in the High Castle.
Book or the show?
Yes.
Yes.
I finished the show.
Yeah,
finally. And I read the book over the past couple weeks.
Let's talk about the show for a little bit as a whole and how it ended. So if you haven't finished Man in the High Castle, skip ahead. Gage is usually pretty good at putting timestamps and stuff. So,
but we're gonna spoil the balls off.
We're gonna spoil the balls off this. So just brace yourself. If you don't care, that's fine. What do you think about the last scene? Literally the last thing to happen in the show.
It's about the dumbest ending they could have chose, but also it was totally the trajectory of this show to not know what it was going to do next.
I guess that's kind of fair in that pretext. So do you remember what I was telling you when I finished it? Like my thoughts about it, how it's a show that throughout the entire show has answered questions. And then to end it on something like, everyone's there?
What is this?
I guess.
Yeah.
It makes no sense. Why? What's the point? What?
It gets you asking questions, but the question is, who cares?
Yeah. Like what's the theme they were going with? The whole theme they were going with is like, I guess, I don't know.
It's just entirely incomprehensible to me on pretty much every level. Did
you understand what I was saying? How like all the character arcs just kind of fizzle? Like the climaxes, like Keto, his court scene and the execution scene, like his kind of climax. My heart was literally pounding during that scene.
Okay,
I feel like that was a really, really good climax. But then just kind of like, I guess that was the end of his. He didn't really do much after that, did he?
I mean, he went and joined the Yakuza to save his son.
I guess that's true. Yeah, that's true.
It's sort of him atoning for the sins of his past by sacrificing his future. It worked for me in that sense, but I'm gonna be honest. I don't like the show.
All right.
On the whole, like everyone around me really enjoys it. The ending notwithstanding.
I wouldn't say I really enjoyed it. Okay. I would, as a whole, I agree. It's like it's mostly forgettable. I don't really remember anything that happened at any. Like I literally forgot what happened at the end of Ketos Story.
Yeah.
I think I just remember the feelings of the really tense moments.
Okay.
With the Black Communist Party. That's who it was.
Revolution.
BCR. Yep. Every time they were doing something stealthily, like their heist-ish things, I felt tense, and I really liked those scenes. I was like, oh, this is really cool. I don't know. I guess the broader story, I agree, is not.
Yeah.
But I mean, I enjoyed the one watch through. I have no inclination to watch it again.
Yeah. Honestly, I probably would not have brought myself to finish it if I hadn't felt like I had to for this episode.
Obligation. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it just, for me, the entire time, it felt like a show where, like, not even season to season, but like scene to scene, they didn't know where they were going with it.
Yeah.
It's just, they thought of an interesting moment and they did the moment and then they moved on.
Yeah. The connections between the big moments were a little flimsy.
Yeah.
I'm putting this at a 5.
Yeah, this is like a 4 or 5 for me.
I'm probably on the upper end of the 5. You're probably on like the lower end of the 5. Like we're kind of at that threshold of, but I'm a little bit more accepting of it than I guess you are, which tracks.
Yeah, no, I just don't love the show. Don't care about most of the characters.
Yeah.
Keto's pretty good. Smith family's pretty good. But
how does it compare to the book? And so, like, avoiding more of our discussion, which will happen next week,
right?
In an hour for us,
right?
But how did it compare to the book? Was it different? Like how
there are some characters. So the book is set in a world where the Axis won World War II, and there are some characters that have the same names. It's just completely different.
Did you like the book?
I love the book.
Oh,
book's
all right.
great. Yeah.
I'll have to check it out. I'll have to check it out.
Yeah. Yeah, no, the book is it's sort of similar. It follows a scattered cast of characters. It doesn't get wrapped up with so many different characters. And I'll tell you a little more later about the characters that are in it and aren't in it relative to the show.
Okay.
And it's a very interesting book. So it's kind of similar. It has some similarities to the first season. There's these characters and they're in this world. And there's a book that's out that's kind of subversively published and under the radar. It's
like the films.
It's like the films.
Okay.
Which makes sense. It's called The Grasshopper Lies Heavy, like it is in the first season. The film is, and it's a guy who imagines a world where the Allies won the war, and so people surreptitiously read the book, and the book is, in some sense, a part of it at least, is kind of about. It's a book about reading, about itself being read. This is really, it's hard to figure out exactly how to put this into words, but it's like, it puts itself, Man in the High Castle puts itself into the world in the form of The Grasshopper Lies Heavy, where it is an alternate history. It's thinking about a different world. And so it's
you would say bookception, even though that's an incorrect interpretation of what that word meant in that movie.
Yeah. Yeah. So it plays
the book
off
within the book. The book is the book within the book.
Yeah, in some sense. So it's taking a different perspective to get you thinking about alternate history. And that's just a part of what's going on. There's a lot of just like, look, the universe is kind of random and you can try to make sense about it.
Right. I mean, that's really interesting that we're reading a book as the reader reading Man in the High Castle. You're reading a book about an alternate history of things that went wrong. Mm-hmm. Of characters that are reading a book of things that went right.
Right.
And it's, how does that play? Because it's a different world where literally it's a different mindset of reading the book.
Yeah.
Because you're not reading the book as I wish this had happened. It's giving me inspiration to go do something heroic. You're reading the book as literally entertainment while the characters, so the book itself is playing a role that's not the same as the book.
It's kind of flipped almost.
Right.
Yeah.
How does it do that? Do you think
yeah, I mean, it's not really the main focus of the book, but it's, there are parts of it where it does kind of get into stuff like that. So characters experience it in different ways. Some of the characters come at it just out of sort of academic interest. They're like, oh, yeah, this seems like if this series of events had happened, that seems like a plausible outcome, but this one doesn't make as much sense.
Like me reading into conspiracy theories. Like, interesting. Okay, the Illuminati, sure.
Yeah.
But like, I'll read it.
Yeah, no, like it's just like, yeah, this is interesting. It's just kind of speculation. And then there's some characters that are like, look, this is a way of showing that the world is not fixed. We have the choice. We can remake the world in our image. And that's something that you get a lot more from the show. The show really leans into that theme of like, hey, if there is another world, or if we can conceive of another world where this exists, where the Reich was defeated, the Axis was defeated, then that gives us something to strive for. It shows that our lot in life is not determined. We can fight for it. And the book it's much more somber. So
there's not alternate worlds.
No. There's one scene where one character kind of has a vision of an alternate world, and then it's gone.
Wow.
Yeah.
The show is not the book.
No. Barely at all.
The entire center of seasons 2 through 4 are the alternate world and getting there.
Yep.
So what's the story of the actual book?
Well, it's really the loosely interconnected stories of a few different characters. Just kind of going about their business, you've got
it's a little closer to slice of life than objective based.
Yeah, more so. So you've got like Frank, and he's making jewelry in San Francisco, and you've got let's see, you've got I can't do that. It'll give away my trivia question later.
Oh, okay.
You've got Juliana trying to find the man in the high castle. Just they go on their little adventures, and it reveals something about the universe.
Right.
And sometimes they kind of intersect in interesting ways.
Okay.
Yeah, I really like it, but I'd say grimmer than the show. I mean, the show does not shy away from moral atrocities, but,
right.
It's a lot more restrained, I guess, which almost makes it more powerful. There's very little actual violence that happens in the book, so when it does come, it's kind of shocking, and it's and you kind of feel the weight of the oppression of the Reich and the Japanese.
It's less of like, the violence is happening. It's more of like the violence is the reality, so it doesn't have to address it.
Yeah.
Like, we never address breathing because that's just a thing that happens all the time. So the violence and the horrendous garbage that happens with the Nazis is literally just, they don't address it because it's just a thing that is the reality.
There's a character who gets arrested at one point, and he just kind of thinks to himself, oh, yeah, I'm going to die horribly.
Anyway,
I don't think I can good conscience recommend the show, but I definitely recommend the book.
All right. Nomadland. I watched Nomadland.
Oh,
which won Best Director, Best Picture, and also Best Leading Actress.
Yep.
Oh, that is a good movie.
I really need to see it.
Oh, it's so good. It just
tell the folks what it's about.
It's
a little
about
indie movie they haven't heard of.
Oh man, it's really hard to just talk about what it's about because it's like what it's about is the themes. It's about a character who is living in a van after. So basically, the opening paragraph on the screen is there's a small town that was a it's like brick factory. That basically the entire town, not even basically, the entire town was that factory. The workers, the entire economy of that stuff, but the factory shut down, and it's following one of the people whose husband worked at that factory and now homeless. And it follows her doing things, just kind of living life, but interacting. It's sort of slice of life-ish. It's pretty it's kind of just a slice of life, of just her coming across different characters with contrasting outlooks. It's really hard to not just, I mean, it's her coming across contrasting outlooks that make you think about kind of how humans interact with each other and how humans assume things about each other. It's a lot about human assumption, stuff like that. And it's really just kind of, it's somber-ish, but like, it's hopeful in the sense that a LaCroix drink tastes like a fruit. It's passingly hopeful. I think is a way I can describe it. It's just I don't know. It gets you.
Does it get you to ask the questions?
Yeah, but no. It's
only pretty great literature.
It's really good. I don't know. It's really hard to describe a slice of life film because there's no the story climaxes in a really great way, like the character arc and stuff like that. It's hard to, because that stuff is really concrete and you can describe how that stuff works, but it's just, I don't know, the whole film is about a feeling and just kind of like a perpetual thought through the movie. And that it's satisfying. But it's, I don't know. It's really hard to describe. It's hard to describe these. Because you could describe, I don't know, Iron Man. It's fantastic because Tony starts in one place, goes to another place, and like he's got character arc, and the story is great, and the characters are blah 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 and stuff like that. But like, it's hard to describe. Nomadland is just Nomadland.
No man lad.
No man lad. That's a new comic book character. It's so good. It's on Hulu for free. But yeah, no, it's It's great. I recommend it.
Good.
Shang-Chi.
Shang-Chi?
Shang-Chi.
And the Legend of the Ten Rings.
Yeah. Huh. Looks like a Marvel movie.
Action looks fun.
Loving
the kung fu style. Like, there's a couple of the flashback scenes where they're doing the whole like floaty thing, and it looks really fun. And then it's kind of toned down and modernized, but still looks great.
Yeah. I mean, I'll be honest. I'm not. This is okay. So I basically have three things or three opinions for Marvel movies when it comes to them coming out. Okay. I'm either excited, I don't care, or it's just that seems like a Marvel movie that's going to be good and I'm going to like it when it comes out. Mm-hmm. This is that. Like it. I'm not particularly like excited. Mm-hmm. Like I'm excited culturally because hell yeah, Asian superhero. Mm-hmm. But like, I don't know. It just looks like a classic or like a great Marvel movie. It just looks like what's a good example of just like a good Marvel, Spider-Man Homecoming.
Sure.
Good Marvel movie.
Yeah.
Awesome. Not like the best, not bad. No. Just a good Marvel movie. They've got the formula down and it just looks like that's Doctor Strange. Good movie.
Yeah.
I'm not going to actively go watch it again, but I'm not going to avoid it by any means.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be that's a 7 probably for me.
Yeah. You're talking 7 speak.
It seems like it's going to be a 7, 8.
Yeah. Yeah. No, honestly, the trailer lowered my expectations a bit. I went from super hyped to I'm pretty hyped.
So the 10 rings is 10 literal rings on fingers of the guy, and he can do different powers. He's got like a frost ring or some crap. Like,
yeah, one of them I think it can open a portal into deep space that just brings in, it freezes things because it's so cold.
All right.
Comics are weird, yo.
Yeah. But this one, it's like bracelets.
Arm bracelets that do generic energy things.
Yeah.
Because it's a comic book movie.
It just looks, it looks good. I'm excited to see where they're going to go, like what they're going to do with, any sort of teasers. We're back to, now that we're out of the Infinity Saga, I'm really excited for post-credit scenes again.
Yeah.
Because because that's something that I noticed early on. It was always teasing the next movie. Mm-hmm. The Iron Man trailer teased really Avengers broadly.
Yeah.
Thor or Hulk teased just Robert Downey Jr. being those two movies. The first two kind of teased the interconnectivity.
Yep.
Then Thor teased Captain America. Captain America teased. Oh no, Iron Man 2 teased Thor.
Yeah. Captain
America was literally just the trailer for Avengers, which was, I guess, fine. But then they were really teasing just the next person. Mm-hmm. And I've always really liked that. And like, I don't really care about the funny, gimmicky post-credit scenes. Mm-hmm. Just, like the shawarma, fine. Like I know that happens.
Yeah.
But I'm really excited to see what Shang-Chi what they tease.
Yeah.
Because it's a new realm. It's a new phase.
Yep. We have the Eternals coming in November. We have no idea what that movie's going to look like.
I have absolutely no idea. So I'm excited to see what they do with that and I mean, we've talked extensively about what we think they're going to do. We have a whole, I think, Minnesota on. Oh no, we have a whole episode on what we expect Marvel to do next and what we hope for and stuff. But I'm excited to see that. I'm excited to see what's coming, not necessarily for this movie. We did some good Watch About Updos and some newses.
Yes, we did.
What are we talking about next week?
Next week, we're going to talk about alternate histories. We're going to talk, it's a massive topic, so we're going to focus in a little bit more on Man in the High Castle specifically, and a little more broadly, World War II, what if the Nazis won, basically.
Yeah. Why is it always Nazis?
Why is it? Because it's Nazis a lot of the time.
It's Nazis a lot of the time. Shout out to Carter Owens, by the way, our friend Carter Owens, for suggesting this idea. Literally, he said, alternate histories, why always Nazis, was basically his actual message. And so, yeah, we're going to explore, why is it always Nazis?
I have a really boring answer for you, bud. But we'll get into it.
I also have my own answer. Hopefully they're different so that it's more discussion than just...
It's okay. I have some other ways we can spice this up a little bit.
Okay, cool. All right, well, shallst we?
We shallst.
Hi everyone, Matt here. Hope you've been enjoying listening to what we've been up to in the news. If you want to get more than just the brief highlights of this, we do an audio-only version of the podcast that really gets into all the nooks and crannies of our opinions. That's going to be wherever fine podcasts are purveyed, be that SoundCloud or iTunes or Spotify or Podbean or iHeartRadio. So check it out there. Thanks for watching this far, and we hope you keep listening.